guys, so I am back to film my wrap-up for the Animal Crossing Readathon. And there's Buffy on the side. Because she's just, and she's knocking shit over. Oh, okay, fine. Hi, ma'am. So this readathon took place from the 9th through the 20th of March, 2020. It was hosted by Paperback Jedi, AM Book Life, and Medusa Reads. Before I added their links in the announcement video, TBR video, so I will add them again for anyone who wants to check them out. This was a lot of fun. It's just super cute, and here's my spread. I'm so happy with my spread. Oh gosh, if Buffy will let me show you guys my spread. Come on, Buffy, let me show them the spread. So there are all the prompts, and as you can see, they've all been, Buffy, they've all been X'd, so I did them, and then there's the additional prompts, and that's all the random other stuff that I ended up reading. Now the only thing I didn't do was actually the host pick, which Buffy, I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to do. Buffy, oh my gosh, Buffy, please stop. Oh gosh, she's seeing the dangles. She's seeing the dangles, kids. So there is the overview. It was just super fun. So the first thing was to read a book with your favorite bookmark. Buffy, please stop. Oh, Buffy, come on. Buffy, stop it. Oh my gosh, ma'am. She's just knocking shit every which direction. I don't even think I've had the bookmark in here. Well, I used one of the bookmarks from my Fairy Loot box, and I don't know where I put the bookmark, so oops, my bad. But I made sure to use it when I read pretty much all of these books, except the extra books, because I was reading them in tandem with these other books. We'll get to those, I think, near the end. So first off, I picked to read The Cats of the Louvre. This is a very weird manga. Let me just say that. So it's basically, well, like it says, it's the Cats of the Louvre. So they basically have the tour guides and like the security guards, and them dealing kind of with like the day-to-day runnings of the Louvre. And then at the night, you'll always get into this like sneak of like, these are the cats that are kind of like hiding up in like the attic or something, and the security guards will take care of them. But then like the cats kind of get like almost personified as human-esque. Let me see if I can find a picture of these cats. The cats are what kind of freaks me out. They are very, very weird. But yeah, I think the cats were kind of what threw me off, because they're just weird. Weird little personified human cats. Where are you, weird little personified human cats? And then there's like a side story with like one of the old security guards and his missing sister, and the one of the tour guides, and the fact that she almost wants to be a security guard versus a tour guide. Well, I keep like missing it, but like, here's like one of them. Like this is his like personified version of a cat, but as a human. And then here's the little boy who's like personified as a cat. It's interesting. I mean, it was kind of like, it was an interesting story. I had fun reading it. It was just very weird. So there's that. So the next prompt was a book with musical elements, and I picked the first volume of Given. This was actually really super cute, and pretty. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Let me see. This artwork is so pretty. So this is basically a band, and then a kid who happens to have a guitar, and he kind of was like, oh, you got to teach me how to play, and to the one boy, and he's like, oh, I don't really want to bother teaching anybody because I'm just not good at it, but he like kind of convinces him, and then he sings, and the kid who wants to learn the guitar sings freaking amazing, and I kind of want to watch this in an anime now just to like hear it, because I feel like this would like translate, I mean, it's going to probably translate better to anime than to manga, just because you can hear the band and you can hear how good they play, and you're just not like they're kind of like they're telling you how good they are, but you know, you're not hearing it because it's, you know, it's physical form. But yeah, it was super cute, and I'm definitely very much looking forward to the next volume of it. These two boys are like, these two front boys are freaking cute as buttons. So there is that. The next one I read was the book with the strong family ties. I did end up picking another manga for that, and I picked Our Dining Table. This was just super freaking adorable. Basically, you have two brothers, like very, very much aged apart, who live with their father, and the older brother keeps trying to cook for the younger brother and keeps failing at cooking for the younger brother. And then they randomly run into the salaryman, who is eating his own food, and then the little brother's like, oh, awesome, I want to try your food. Snatches his food and eats it, because apparently that's just what kids do. And says, wow, this is like the most amazing food ever, like, you need to teach my brother how to like cook. And then he starts coming over and teaching them how to cook things together, and it's so stinking adorable. This is like what I want my BL to be like, because this is just so fluffy and cute, and they're just so adorable together, and yeah, it was just perfect. So cute. If you want just like a nice little fluffy, happy BL, there you go. So the next one I read was a recently purchased book, and I ended up picking, obviously, one of my thrillers because I couldn't help myself. So I did end up reading and finishing The Only Child. This was kind of interesting. So I'm not gonna lie. How do I, like, I'm trying not to, like, okay. I had a hard time getting into it at first, ironically, because of the Korean names, and I was having trouble, like, some of them looked so similar that I was having trouble remembering, like, who was who, which is pretty bad. I mean, like, as it progressed more, I kind of, like, figured it out, but the Korean names were kind of throwing me off a little bit, which is bad, but I really haven't read that much, like, Korean, so it kind of makes sense that I'm not used to, like, some of their, like, standard-ish names, and I'm not even sure if these names are standard or not. But this woman is a psychologist, and she basically is told that one of these, like, serial killers has been locked up because he killed, like, a boatload of women, wants to talk to specifically her. And she can't figure out why, and so she ends up seeing him, and at the exact time that she's seeing him and she's having these multiple, like, interview sessions with him, her husband's daughter from a previous marriage ends up coming to their home because her grandparents die in a tragic fire, and she doesn't have any family, so she ends up coming there. So she's dealing with interviewing the serial killer, this despondent, quiet child, and she's realizing the similarities between these two individuals, and shit gets dark. Oh my gosh. This is probably one of the darker books in general that I've ever read. That ending, whoosh. If you like really psychological dark shit, this is a good one, because you're really getting into, like, the mind of, like, the serial killer himself as he's, like, going through the motions of interviewing her and, like, figuring out why he specifically picked her in the first place, and all that, and you're also getting him, but you're getting like the shots from like the 9-year-old girl and like her thought process through this, and how she's like kind of evolving into like not something good. So it's really interesting and twisted, and that ending I definitely didn't expect. So if you want like a really psychological twisted thriller, this is like a good one. This definitely deals with child abuse. So if that's one of your triggers, stay away. There's like so much of it in here, but it's really interesting. So that one was a pretty good one. So next off, we have got Buffy wanting to go out. So 1 second, guys. Okay, Buffy, go. And so the last prompt that I had was been on your TBR the longest. So I ended up finishing like right near the end. Like I finished this like I think 2 days before, a day or two before the readathon ended. The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This was good. I like this a lot. So this is basically about a girl, Alice, who's been living with her mom, and they've kind of been on the run their whole life because there's just this bad series of events that keep on happening to them. And Alice's grandmother is some reclusive author that like does like super dark fairy tales. And then she passes away, and the next thing you know, Alice's mother gets taken. And basically she keeps getting these, like her mom is basically saying don't go to the Hazelwood, which is where her grandmother's estate is. But she's also getting singular clues trying to lead her towards the woods. So, and then you've got Avery Finch, I think that's how you would say his name, who is basically this boy from her school that starts helping her. One, because he's actually a fan of her grandmother's writing, and that's how he kind of picks up on her. And two, because of he just wants to go on an adventure with her because he's just that boy. So this one was actually really good. I definitely liked the dark fairy tale aspect of it. I love the fantasy aspect of it. I was just really wanting fantasy, and this was definitely hit the bill, but this is also some pretty dark fantasy too. So, I mean, I apparently read some fluff and then dark shit. So, but I really enjoyed this one. I like how it ended. I'm looking forward to reading the next book. I did get it. I got the Barnes & Noble's exclusive, and I'm going to also be buddy reading that one with Shay because Shay has already read this one, and then when she saw that I had got the second one, she was like, oh good, when you're done with the first one, we can buddy read the second one together. So that will ultimately be happening at one point. So those are the ones that I actually read for the prompts. These are the ones that I read outside the prompts, just because I read them, because why not? So first off, this one came in the mail, and I couldn't help it because it just looked comical as shit. Cherry Magic, 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. So this is a BL. And he basically, our nerdy 30-year-old here, becomes 30 and basically discovers that he can use magic. And his magic is that he can read minds. So he goes to work, and then he runs into the guy that's like the popular guy that all the women seem to like. And he realizes that basically he's listening into his thoughts and finds out that that popular guy actually has a crush on him. Yay! So it's basically their interaction trying to like figure out how to get together as a couple, because the one doesn't know that the other can read his mind, and he has never had a relationship before, obviously 30-year-old virgin, so he has no clue how to handle this. So, and it's hilarious. Like, the one thing I loved about this was that because he could read his mind, every time they touched each other, he would hear like the perverted thoughts of like the other guy, and he was like, oh my gosh, you think like that? And it's just epic. So that was a lot of fun, and that is one of the manga from Square Enix, which I don't actually have any. So that was actually that, and The Man and His Cat were my first two, and they're both really good. So Square Enix, so far so good. I like what you're doing. And so the other two that I read happened to just be buddy read with Shay that happened to actually start and finish in this time frame. So that worked out really darn well. So the first one is the Islands of, I don't know how to pronounce that. So this is middle grade. I will admit I don't read a lot of middle grade Except, is Sunshine Girl middle grade? I'm not even sure, but I definitely know that, The City of Ghosts is middle grade. So I liked that series, so I was like, okay, well, I haven't read a lot of middle grade, so let's give middle grade a shot. I did not like this. So it's about a girl living with her aunt, and they're basically the island. Their island is like, there's a whole bunch of islands, and they all used to like coexist, and then one of them started invading everybody, and then it's kind of convoluted. Well, it's a fantasy, so I guess it happens. So they all start like kind of invading each other. Well, one tried to invade the other, and then it kind of like devolved, and then somehow this one got like encased in a freaking globe, or like encased in a, you know, like a bubble, and no one can get in and out. And there's like this prophecy on if they bring like someone from each specific location together, that they can break this curse that's keeping this one part covered. It was a little odd. I mean, like, I've read middle grade, and it read like really, really childish. And I know that from my friend who actually did like her like thesis on this author for when she became a librarian, said that this one was just like one of the worst ones, because unfortunately she passed away and it had to be completed by the daughter. And you can kind of tell that the writing doesn't really, like, it almost is like the one started and the one finished, and it kind of gets a little wonky. So I'm sure that that didn't help. But it was just kind of I mean, it wasn't, I read it, it was just kind of written kind of like like basic, very basic. So there's that. I'm not going to keep that one, but I read it. And then the last one I read with Shay was actually A Dress for the Wicked. Now this one I just finished yesterday with her, so right at the end of the readathon. It is also my LitJoy edition, so it does have the signed book. This one was kind of in the middle too. Like, I think I liked this one least of the two, but this one was just kind of there. So basically, this girl, Emmy, from this little like country bumpkin town, dreams of basically going into the big city and competing on like fashion Project Runway type show, where basically the fashion house of the big city ends up having this competition where it takes like 4 girls and they compete against each other, and whoever wins ends up like becoming part of the creators of the fashion house. So they end up like the reformist, so there's like the current government, and there's the reformist party, and the reformist party is saying that basically the fashion industry is like frivolous and it's a waste of time, and they need to make outfits for all and not just outfits for the wealthy. So they are basically like hammering them to not just be so inclusive in the fact that they basically pick the rich girls to like do this thing. So they demand that they basically pick someone who's from like the country, or someone who's from like a less wealthy area. So Emma gets picked as that like poster child. So she goes, but she has to do like a whole bunch of interviews and trot around all cute and basically say like, oh hey, I'm like the poor girl and here I am. Well, she's trying to like actually like do this competition. And of course, it's a competition, so sabotage is a thing, and it happens, and I mean, it was fine. It kind of ended a little rushed. It kind of didn't really go where I thought it was going to go, which was, I guess, kind of a point in its favor, but I mean, it was just okay. I mean, I'm like 3-star, like middle of the road. It was fine. Would I read it again? Probably not. Will I keep it because it's signed? Probably. I mean, didn't do anything. So that's basically everything that I read for this readathon. Oof, I'm about to get cut off. Am I? Or is it 20 or 30 minutes? I can't remember. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my wrap-up. I had a lot of fun with this. Thank you so much, hosts. I will definitely do it again. I will see you guys later for the next video. Everyone have a very good rest of the day. Bye!